Okay, Kanchi. So, my question to you is, how can mantra japa help when you're feeling disturbed or distracted while you're doing the japa? So, let's say you're distracted or your mind is wandering somewhere while you're doing the japa. Does it still have any value?
See, the greatest value for mantra japa comes when your mind is unified. So if your mind is going in 1,000 different directions, and in one thought you're saying Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, but in another instance you're looking at the world around you, or you're agitated with something, or you're dreaming about something, then the efficacy obviously becomes a little lesser. So in order to have the greatest efficacy, the most important thing is to focus on your mantra, focus on where the mantras are rising from. And also there are different aspects on about focusing on the mantra. Some people focus on the quality of the deity, some people focus on the form of the deity, some people focus on emotions of bhakti and all these things. But that focus is important. Without concentration, without holding on to the thought, without holding on to the nama. Nama is the name of the deity you're doing. Suppose you're doing Rama, 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 you should focus on that akshara Rama. Keeping your mind focused on that is the greatest efficacy. It gives you the most benefit. But not to say that if your mind is wandering, that there will not be any benefit whatsoever. Because just see, for mantra japa, in order to do mantra japa, first thing is, it is discipline. Every day I want to get up, let's say at 4 a.m. I'm waking up. At 4 a.m. I wake up every day, take a cold shower, whatever, take a shower, sit down, and then meditate on, pray to God, and then start the japa. So this itself is discipline. This itself is a change in your lifestyle. Otherwise, what are you doing? In order to wake up at 4 a.m., you have to sleep early. So all these lifestyle changes happen for you to be able to do japa at a particular time, right? So there are lots of benefits, and there is no meditator in the world whose mind does not wander, right? So if you're sitting for half an hour, you will maybe get a few moments, maybe a few minutes, maybe 10 seconds, 15 seconds of unbroken concentration. Even this is powerful enough, because for an ordinary man, for an ordinary person, his mind is always wandering. Just to be able to pull that mind, even for a brief moment, and then you know tell the mind to do something, that and the mind does what you are asking it to do, that itself is a powerful experience. So even if it is for a few moments, it is beneficial. And even if your mind is distracted 90% of the time, 10% or 5% or even 1% of the time, if you can pull it back and you focus on it, that 1% is victory. So today it is 1%, maybe it is tomorrow 2 minutes, maybe in a few years you will reach 5 minutes. Being able to meditate with unbroken concentration for a few minutes is no joke. So the benefit is there. It might not show immediately, but definitely benefits are there. But the best way is to be concentrating on the ideal.
So, how can a mantra japa be used as a tool to calm an agitated mind?
See, agitation, we have to study agitation. What is agitation? For the mind to become agitated, it is called manovikruti. Manovikruti is, this is manas. Manas is a placid lake, right? It is peaceful, it is equanimous at all. The actual consciousness is placid. And then any vikruti or any abnormality in this is agitation, right? So that is agitation. And for the mind to become agitated, first there has to be I, and then mine. So there is I who is agitated. When there is agitated mind, there is one person who is getting agitated. So he is getting what is the reason he is getting agitated for? Because his I is being threatened. I and mine is being threatened. If mine is being threatened, suppose my car, this is my car, someone scratches the car or someone honks at the car, I get agitated. Or I and my children, mine is my children. So I find that my children not safe, are not feeling safe or something, I get, the mind gets agitated. So the moola for the vikruti, or for the abnormality to happen, first is identification with the body, right? I and mine. So this identification, we are identifying, and sometimes we are falsely identifying and thinking of ourselves to be an individual with certain limited adjunctions. So in japa, the idea of japa is to dissolve these adjunctions, to dissolve these limitations of the mind, right? So when we do japa, in the japa, when we say Om Namah Shivaya, for example, when we do the Panchakshari mantra and we do Om Namah Shivaya, we say Namah Shivaya. Nama is salutations or surrender. Shiva is the deity. So who is surrendering? The I and deity become one. Not mine, it is yours. This is japa. So constantly there is a surrendering of the ego. And by surrendering the ego loses its strength on this physical structure. Right now I'm saying this is my body, I am this, I am that. So this and that disappear. I am does not disappear. This and that disappear. Naturally, when this and that disappear, agitation automatically disappears. So I am remains. I am is only Shiva. So this way, by meditating, and the mind is pulled inside, and it becomes identified with Shiva automatically. This and that falls out, and agitation along with that subsides.
Okay, so if you look at the sages that are very popular, such as Dhruva and Prahalada, who've used japa to help them in their lives, and you hear their stories, it seems like they're constantly only busy with japa. That's the day. Their day starts with japa, their day ends with japa. But when I look at myself as an ordinary person, I obviously can't do that. So how can I realistically expect any effect from the japa when you hear the stories of people whose lives are fully about japa? At least that's how it's portrayed in books.
See, for example, we start eating. Let's say we're eating breakfast, and we're eating idlis, right? Idlis. So one person eats the first idli, and then he eats the second idli. He's still hungry. Third idli, he's still hungry. When he comes to the eighth idli, for example, he feels full, right? At the eighth idli, he feels full, not the first seven idlis, right? Similarly, realization, self-realization happens at the eighth idli. It happens in a moment. Whether you take lifetimes, whether you take hours together daily or meditating morning to night, all those things are not important. Assuaging that hunger is important. And what is assuaging the hunger? What is feeding the spiritual soul is self knowledge. And what is self knowledge? I am the self. Knowing that you are not this body, you are not the mind, you are the self. That is only self knowledge. Whether you feel full at the first idli or last idli, that is not the question. It is only a moment. Dhruva has taken lifetimes, Prahalada has taken lifetime. Those are their stories. Your story does not have to be lifetimes. And you don't know how much tapas you have done in past lives to arrive at this juncture. So everybody has their own story, right? There are stories where, for example, Vivekananda went and he met Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. And just by meeting him, Paramahamsa put his hands on the head of Ramakrishna, and Ramakrishna attained Brahman. That is the one of the stories. It was happened in a moment. There are so many stories when people used to go to meet Ramana Maharshi, and just by the gaze of Bhagavan, see, Ramana Maharshi would be sitting silently, he would open his eyes and gaze at disciples. Some stranger who has come from far away, who has done no spiritual practice, and in that one moment, just meeting the gaze of the Maharshi, they would attain the self. How many lifetimes was this? So all those things are secondary. We only have to focus on what we have to do. If suppose you have got diksha from your guru, or suppose you have got spiritual initiation, you practice, you focus on your path. Whether it takes one lifetime, 100 lifetimes, it is left to your guru and God.
So sometimes when I'm in the act of doing japa meditation, there's a sudden feeling of joy and love, like a feeling that everything is okay. There's nothing that needs to be changed. And I like that feeling. So is this feeling that I have, that I sometimes get, a result of mantra japa, or is it just an illusion?
Of course, see, there are benefits of meditation. There are benefits of japa. There are benefits of being on the spiritual path. They say the path is good. How do we know the path is good? We know the path is good when it is good in the beginning, when it is good in the middle, and when it is good in the end. So it is auspicious. It has an auspicious beginning. It is auspicious in the middle. It does good to you in the middle, and even in the end, it is all auspiciousness. So this is the spiritual path. This is only benefits of mantra japa. Some people might have sudden outbursts of joy, or some things that are within can get released. Some people are crying, when they do japa, they start crying, or they get suddenly afraid, or they feel very lustful. These are all whatever is inside, it's coming out. So not too much focus should be on the side effects of japa. See, the idea of japa is guarantee of self realization, guarantee of peace, eternal peace. That is only mantra japa. Once you hold the japa mala, once you start meditating, it is a guarantor. The japa mala is the guarantor. It is guaranteed that you will attain the self. So all these small things, I'm feeling good today, I'm feeling bad today. Every day we will have cycles. When your mind is sattvic, you will feel joy. When your mind is rajasic qualities, you will feel more passionate, enthusiastic about life, or you could have some agitation, you could have some anger issues. And when it is tamasic, you might feel lazy, might feel inert, even though you're doing the same japa mantra daily. So the cycles will come and go, but purification continues with japa. The idea of japa is purification of your inner nadis and purification of the mind, and result is always peace.
So now that you mentioned the Japamala, so how important is the use of a Japamala and counting the number of mantra repetitions that you use? Is that really important, or is it also okay sometimes to not use the Japamala and just do the recitation internally?
See, why the Japamala has been suggested for the practitioner is because it is a indicator of your state of consciousness. So suppose now we are agitated and I sit for uh, japa. If I try to do slowly, I might get angry. I might not feel satisfied. So this is when you come and you say Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, and you fasten the beats, fasten the counting of the beats. You do quick rounds. So then slowly the mind comes under control. The agitation also reduces. Then it slows down. Right. One of the main problems of meditation, one of the many issues people face is they fall asleep. When you're meditating, they'll wake up and then say, "Oh, I had a good meditation," but sometimes they've fallen asleep. So how do we differentiate when you fall asleep or when you're consciously, when you're awake? Right? The chapa is one of the chanting and the beats are one of the significators, one of the indicators. So we are doing it continuously, and also the idea is, see, why they have also told not to cross over the meru of the japa. See, every japa mala has a meru, has another bead on top, and you're not supposed to cross over. So consciously, as soon as we reach that, you have reached, let's say, one round, you turn it around and you come back. This keeps us in a state of awakened consciousness, wakeful consciousness. Instead of awakened, I'll say wakeful consciousness. You don't fall asleep. Many people, when they're meditating, the feeling is very good. We feel very, pleasant, and they end up going to sleep. So one of the main reasons is this, that you continue to count, and today you will realize, okay, I have counted for, let's say I've done 10 rounds. So this is a quantifiable sadhana, quantifiable spiritual practice, right? I've done 10 rounds, I've done 25 rounds. It's like that. It's better that way. One of the other reasons, this is one reason, that is being awake and not falling asleep. The other reason is ajapa. When you are doing mantra japa, there comes a point when the japa starts arising in you naturally. You don't have to do anything. So now for example, I have to do the japa. I will say Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. So first the intention comes and then the action happens. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Then what happens? Only the intention is enough and the action happens. Right? So I will just have the intention that I have to chant, and the chanting happens naturally. This is the second stage. The third stage is when the intention also happens naturally. Without me having an intention, the japa arises naturally. Natural, like how the breath arises, the japa also arises with the breath. This is Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. This is called ajapa. Ajapa is natural japa. And in this stage, what happens? In the chanting, when you are chanting, naturally this ajapa, once it starts arising, the mind becomes very peaceful. The mind subsides in its source. At that time, the chanting stops, the counting of the beats stop. You don't need to count at that time. Till then, you have to count. Counting happens because your mind and body become, it goes into a suspension of in consciousness, in wakeful consciousness. It is suspended. This is called samadhi. You enter the deeper states of consciousness. So it is an indicator to see how far we are going to enter the deeper states of samadhi. I'll give you an example. There is a very famous sage called Raghavendra Swami. So this Raghavendra Swami entered Jiva Samadhi. Jiva Samadhi is while alive, he created a Mahasamadhi space for him, and he entered the ground and he had his disciples seal his place. So he went into the ground alive, and he said, "I will return after 500 years." So at this time, he told his disciples that don't start building this, this samadhi over me till the japamala continues. So till the japamala is continuing, stay. Let it be open. Once the mala bead counting stops, that means I have entered samadhi, and then you can start building. So this is a documented thing. I think there was some British army officers also at that time over there in that space. So this is a documented thing a few hundred years ago. He said, I will return after 500 years of being in Jiva Samadhi. So there are sages and yogis like this, suspend life for multiples of 100 years, doesn't matter. It's like going into hibernation. It can take 100 years, 200 years, like that, whatever it is, and they return from that. So counting of the beats is given for these reasons.
Sometimes gurus tell their disciples when they're doing japa to focus on a specific chakra. Sometimes they don't give you that instruction altogether. So, what are the things you need to prepare for yourself when you're sitting to do japa? And why is it in some cases a certain chakra is indicated, while other cases it is not?
See, every human being comes on this planet with predispositions, Purva Samskaras. So that's what it's called. Predispositions are, some people are naturally anxious all the time. Some people are naturally angry all the time. Some people, they feel they're more prone to become sad. Some people are prone to being very enthusiastic and doing a lot of things. Some people are born lazy. Similarly, the five elements in the body also, there are predispositions, right? For me, for example, there is a lot of the fire energy. Agni is more in that. So if I do sadhana which is more Agni related, it might aggravate the fire energy in my body. So I should balance the fire energy. Some other people will have a excess of vata. Vata is the wind energy. So you have to do grounding exercises for them. And even in meditation and even in our chakras, each chakra has a certain association with elements. So Manipuraka chakra is associated with Agni. Even in the Shastras, there are three types of Agni in the body. There are three types of Surya in the body, or you can say Surya is the sun god. So they say there are three solar orbs in the body. First is Agni, and then there is Soma, and then there is Aditya. So Agni is in the Manipuraka chakra, right? So this is the fire center, and the mantra of Bija mantra of this is Ram. So when we meditate on our Manipuraka, the fire in the body is ignited or invoked or invigorated, right? And Soma is in the heart chakra. In the Anahata chakra, there is Soma. And in our Agna chakra, there is Aditya. Aditya is like the sun god. So there is luminosity here. And there is Soma is like Chandra. Chandra is moon. So Soma is the is what gives the juice to all the things in the on the planet. So all the plants, when we say juice, we mean the rasa. Rasa is the essence. So the taste, right? Whatever taste you get from any plants, fruits, the taste of it is given by soma of everything in the universe, in the world. And Agni we know is heat, and this gives the luminosity, right? So that's why first thing what I mean, depending on the meditator, we tell them to meditate on a certain chakra, because when you are meditating on soma, you get a feeling of bliss, right? You get what I mean? So when somebody is doing japa, it's called drishti samyamana, means focusing your, when you're meditating, focusing on a particular point in the body. See, some people meditate on bhrumadhya, some people meditate on the heart. For yogis, bhrumadhya is good. Yogi, why bhrumadhya is good for yogis? Why Agna Chakra is good for yogis? Because yogi purifies his mind and body. He eats healthy. He has a very strict diet. Strict. He does fasting. They abstain from sex. They abstain. They're supposed to abstain from drugs. They're supposed to abstain from tamasic foods, foods that aggravate, the body. They purify the body a lot. So when they meditate on Aditya, the center of Aditya, they get the benefits of that. But a common man who's using devices, who's using mobile phone and laptops and all this, watching television all day, eating all kinds of things, and not purifying their nadis, the nerves in the body. When he meditates on the Agda Chakra, he will have headaches, he will have mental imbalances. No benefit will come if you have not purified yourself. So the first thing, if you are not a yogi, you should avoid meditating on the Agna Chakra if you are not purified yourself. And Jatara you can always do. See, Jatara Agni, this is called Jatara Agni. This is the center where digestion happens and all these things. This is a central processing unit for the body's physical well-being. So it's a lower chakra. It is very safe to do on the Jatara Agni as well. But uh, people who are on the Bhakti Marga, it is better to do on Soma, because it is easier to get the result of your japa here. Soma, the center of Soma in Anahata Chakra. You can feel peace, you can feel bliss much easier.
So, how do I know if my mantra japa is actually effective or if I'm just doing some sort of mechanical repetition of a mantra in my head?
See, like I said, the fact that we are taking time away in during our busy lives, taking time out for 20 minutes, half an hour, and saying, today, in this moment, I will meditate on this God, or I will meditate on this ideal. Right? Suppose we are meditating on Shiva. What does Shiva stand for? Shiva is a person, is a Vairagi, so he's detached from everything. So it is selfless action. When we sit for japa itself is selfless action. Let's say we're meditating on Mahavishnu, we're meditating on Indra. Indra's strength, right? So each deity represents a certain this thing. When we meditate on Ganesha, Ganesha's knowledge, right? So if you're meditating on that ideal, whether how good, how what is the quality of the meditation is different. Just the fact that you're taking time out every day, you're not drinking alcohol, you're not smoking, or you're not eating unhealthy, or you're not procrastinating, just taking time out. Forget even the act of meditation or japa, just the fact that you're taking time out to sit every day, and it inculcates a sense of discipline in the individual. So just that is a victory in itself, right? That is the first victory. And then when you are sitting, we unify the mind. The mind comes together. The thousand thoughts become one. Constantly we're thinking we have to do this, we have to do that. Thousands of thoughts are there. We are trying to bring all these things together. What is the intention? The intention of the mind, of the person, of the individual, is to make the mind peaceful, is to attain self-realization, or to become calm. And whatever the man thinks, he becomes, right? So whatever constantly you're thinking, you will become that. So if your intention is only most important, act will follow. Not, if not today, tomorrow. If today you have failed, tomorrow you will fail a little lesser. See, we don't have to be 100% on day one. We can be terrible on day one. We can be maybe little horrible on day two. We get slightly better on day three. By the end of 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, no matter how long, the important thing is to do it every single day, Whatever is prescribed by your teacher, spiritual teacher, continue that every single day, and you will get the fruits have to come. They will not go anywhere.
And when you talk about the mantra, is there only one mantra per person? And does the mantra have to be given by a guru? Or are you allowed to, for yourself, choose a specific mantra that you find appealing? How does that work?
See, there are thousands of things you can do. Astrologers also prescribe mantras. Today on, you go to some seminars and courses, even there some people will prescribe mantra. Sometimes your guru by some other disciple who says, I have been meditating. For example, I have been meditating on Mahamrityunjaya mantra. He says you should also do it. It's beneficial. This is also good. But in the land of mantras, in the order of things, if you see an hierarchy, the best mantra is the one that is given by the guru, right? Nobody else. The one that is given by the guru is best. And there are people who say, I don't have a guru. I've never met a physical guru. There are many people, including me. I have, you get visions of the mantra. So it comes to you in a vision or a dream. Even that is good. If that is also not there, then what inspires you? That is also good. See what, suppose for some people Shiva is inspiring. For some people Devi is inspiring, Mahalakshmi is inspiring. For some people Ramana Maharshi is inspiring. Whatever inspires you, you can take it. Important thing is, if you are not seeing the result in your japa, it is not because the mantra has some flaw. The flaw is only in our practice. So what people do is they do this for 15 days and they say it's not enough. I will try some tantric mantras. Then they will say I will try some bija mantras. Bija mantras are very powerful. See, there are no hierarchy of powerful things. There are different qualities of mantras. It's not like Om Namah Shivaya is the greatest mantra. Of course, it is the greatest mantra for you. If you are practicing Om Namah Shivaya, then it is the greatest mantra for you. You should not even listen to Om Namo Narayana or anything else. If you think Om Namo Narayana is better than Om Namah Shivaya, you are doomed. You will have no place in any of the hells, because you're not going to come out of this. Doubt is the enemy of man. So if you want to doubt your practice, not the devata or the mantra or the rishi who has prescribed the mantra. If there is any flaw, we should look at the flaw within ourselves and meditate. So the idea is, pick one mantra. There is no flaw in the mantra. The flaw is only in the mind of man.
So let's say I do start with a mantra. How important is it that I pronounce it perfectly? Is it more important for me to meditate or do the japa based on the intention of the mantra, or is perfect pronunciation important?
See, intention and intonation both are important. You don't have to pick either of them. But having said that, suppose somebody has a lisp and you're reciting loudly. It is fine. If you have a speech impediment, it is okay if you cannot. Like when I was young, I could not say Rama, and Rama was one of my favorite deities. I would go around saying Vama, Vama, Vama to everybody. Jai Sri Vam, like this Vama, Vama, Vama. I would do, and they used to mock me. Everybody used to mock me and say Rama, say Rama. At least because of this mock, I grew up saying Rama, Rama, Rama. Rama became Rama one day, right? Even though they were mocking, at least because of that I said it a million times, right? So I feel happy about that. Similarly, when we hear the story of Valmiki, everybody is aware of the story of Valmiki, that Narada gave him the Mara mantra. See, Rama, 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 Rama is the mantra for Rama, Lord Sri Ram. But Narada, it is said that he gave him the Mara mantra. Mara is death. When you say Mara, 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 it means death, death. So Valmiki was like a bandit. So Narada didn't want him to get the benefits of the japa. So he told him, you chant this. You're hoping that this guy will get ruined by this. But because his intention was pure and he wanted to transform himself, he kept continuing the Rama mantra by saying Mara, 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 Mara. And Mara, Mara became Rama. So everyone knows that. So even though intonation was at fault, there was some flaw in that. The intention was right. So of course, mind comes first, then matter. But you don't have to pick. If you can pronounce it well, always pronounce it well.
So you mentioned earlier that some people do experience things such as visions or feelings of bliss during the other, while others don't. So why is that? And is one better than the other?
See, a person who has no visions and he never meets any deities in his dream, there are no experiences, he is blessed. Right? Person who gets a lot of visions, he will think tomorrow when I sit for meditation, he will think today I should see some other deity. I will see, I want to experience this. I want this spiritual experience, that spiritual experience. He is a dead man because his meditation is not going to be pure, impure meditation. It is with the desire for fruits. Very difficult, especially when you have a great, exciting some experience where you had some vision of some devata, rishi, whatever it is, or some movement in the body. So, a person who is not getting, I would say, is blessed. He's especially blessed because he will focus only on the path and what he needs to do, and it is easier for him to attain the self faster. A person who is getting these things and experiencing some bits of some siddhi, he is bound to be doomed. So these are all, you can say, they're all tests on the path of the spiritual aspirant. So if you pass these tests and you don't get carried away, then you will go straight into the path. If you get carried away by every small experience you have, then it will take you forever to reach your goal. You will not even know what the goal is. Right?
Can you explain what you mean by test over here? Who's testing you? What is the test about?
See, there is something called Purva Samskara. Purva Samskara is basically unfulfilled desires from past life. Suppose I loved a woman, or I loved a particular type of women. Now in this life, I want to get that. Get what I mean? There are times when people have almost attained the self, but because of some silly desire they had, they have to take birth again just to fulfill that desire. But the thing about desire is it is a bottomless pit. So you try to fulfill one desire. Suppose I liked one woman in my past life. This life, if I get her, I might not be satisfied because this life I might like another type of woman or another woman. So this is only the test, right? Are you fulfilled with this? If you're done with this, then you move on to the next. These are all levels, you can say, in a spiritual, in anybody's life, especially in a spiritual aspirant's life, because the goal is detachment. The goal is vairagya. See, we want to rise above the base needs of the mind and the body. We want to go above this. We want to transcend our desires and attain the self. It is a very, it is, they say the self is very sukshma. It is smaller than the smallest. It is smaller than the sesame seed, they say. So it is a very subtle, spiritual path itself is a very subtle path, and it is like walking on a edge of a blade, right? You don't know when you will cut yourself, when you will fall down. So it is full of this thing. Who is testing? Nothing. It is the game of karma. It is all, like they say, it's all Leela, the Leela of God. It is all a play of consciousness. So thousands of things are happening continuously. And you want to pass this, you have to transcend it. You cannot give up one thing and hold on to the other. You have to give up all together in like wholesale. Don't hold on to anything. So that is the way.
And you also mentioned earlier about 4 a.m. Japa. Is that really necessary?
It is beneficial. So the best time a person can meditate, they say it's not 4 a.m. It is 2 hours before sunrise in wherever you are. So in whichever city, whichever part of the world you are in, 2 hours before sunrise is called Brahma Muhurta. So this is the best time for a person to meditate. You will get your peace. You will get your the highest benefit while meditating. What you have to get. See, our rishis have divided the days, divided 24 hours into muhurtas. So the best muhurta is the Brahma Muhurta during the day. Similarly, in the lunar calendar, they've given specific days when meditation is gives certain type of results and all.
So now you're talking about meditation and japa. What is the difference? Is there a difference between japa and meditation?
There is a meditation in Sanskrit is dhyana. Dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. Dharana is holding, that is concentration, holding on to one thought. So when we say, when we are doing japa, we are doing all three things. We are doing dharana, that is, we are holding on to the name of the deity, or we are holding on to the mantra. When we say Om Namah Shivaya, the idea is to watch that mantra, the rising of the mantra, the sound of the mantra, and the disappearance of the mantra. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Watching it closely, concentrating on it, holding on to that is dharana. Now, where is the mantra arising from? Where is it coming from? Where is that sound? The, the first sound that is striking in your consciousness. Entering into that space. Entering is meditation. Entering is dhyana. Right? Entering into that space where this mantra is arising from is dhyana. Right? When we enter and then we move, when we're moving with the mantra is also moving. All these things are happening during, as long as that is happening, it meditation is happening or dhyana is happening. When that holds and the mantra doesn't move out of where it's arising from, instead of coming out and exiting, it subsides into the origin, that is samadhi. So with mantra, all three things are happening: dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. All these three things are happening when you are chanting the mantra. That is why mantra is most powerful. It is a tool for meditation. It is not meditation by itself. Get what I mean? So it is a tool for meditation, and it is a tool for self-realization. It's an instrument of realization.
And how is that related to mindfulness?
Mindfulness, the word itself is a very Western concept, because we don't want the mind to be full. We want to empty the mind, right? So the idea of mindfulness itself is like, I don't know if it is almost, it's funny to even think about it. So I don't know in what way they have coined this term, but in our tradition there is no such thing as mindfulness. It is emptying the mind or destroying the mind at its root, because we say mind as we know it is impure and it is an illusion. See, mind is arising something, it is creating some thoughts, some disturbance in the consciousness, and it's disappearing every moment. Some thought is coming. So when you go into the root of the mind and try to see where is the mind, where is the mind? It is full of nothing.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe for more. With grace and gratitude, see you next time.